click on the video. I'm Mike, the driver. Today we're taking a look at a 2020 Ford Escape. The Escape is Ford's medium-sized SUV to compete against the likes of the Toyota RAV4, Honda CR-V, and Mazda CX-5. Let's see if the Escape has what it takes to be competitive in this field. Let's go. Okay, so looking at the Ford Escape on the outside, we've kind of got this like tall greenhouse look, and from certain angles, it kind of looks like they've taken a Ford Focus and just kind of blown it up a bit into the CUV shape. This being the titanium model, we've got body colored side mirrors and integrated turn signal, and it's riding on 19-inch wheels. These are two-tone, and I'm a big fan of these. I think it actually sets it apart from the lower models. And the headlights are LED headlights, and I know some people probably aren't going to like this, but they're pretty reminiscent of Porsche's headlights. There's the quad beam in there, and I actually think it looks pretty attractive. Then you've got integrated marker lights on the side of the bumper as well, and then a big grille that we're used to seeing from cars like the Fusion and the Focus, which Ford no longer makes. But it's a pretty good profile shape, and then you've got some added chrome bits on the side as well. Okay, so in the back we've got a simple windshield wiper back here, nice little spoiler with integrated integrated brake light, Ford logo, your Escape spelled out in the back in nice chrome letters, titanium trim level. Some pretty nice jeweled tail lamps in the back. You've got your red, your integrated turn signal and reverse lights. Here you can see this is your backup camera, and we also have a tow hitch on this vehicle as well. We also have the dual tipped exhaust. Even though this is a 4-cylinder, one is more than enough. And there are two ways to get into the back. You've got your traditional way where you've got the handle and the button on the back, but as Ford has pioneered, you also have your kick to lift system as well. So if your hands are full, you can just kick your foot back like that, and hey, and it opens. So in the back, there's tons of room here. As you can see, I've got my camera gear back here, and then below the floor, you've got a Space Saver spare. Since this has 19-inch rims, I'm not sure that you're gonna want to use that spare unless you're in dire need and need to get out of someplace. If you've got AAA, I'd probably wait for them to come pick you up. And then, like I said, you can fold the seats flat. Unfortunately, there's no way to fold the seat flat from the back. You have to go to the side of the seat and fold it down. And I think that's a big miss for Ford, because everyone else, there's a handle or a switch or something that easily can be accessed from the back, even if it's something that's intended to be open from the front. So that's a weird one on me. But you also have a 12-volt slot here in case you need to charge something or whatever, and then you've got some tie downs as well right here. Overall, I think it's a pretty good space, and the back of the Ford Escape is pretty versatile. All right, so up front on the car, I've got plenty of room, lots of leg room, lots of headroom here. It's pretty easy to find a seating configuration that I'm happy with, because we have our telescoping wheel also goes up and down. We've got a 10-way adjustable seat here. The adjustability is nice, but I feel like it's a bit narrow. I'm a skinny person, and I feel like the seat bottom is perfect for me. So I'm a little surprised by just how little seat bottom you get, given that this is an American vehicle for sale in the American market. I'm not the typical size, so I think that some people who get this vehicle might be annoyed by that. And then the seat backs, you know, they're pretty good. Got a little extra room here, but again, it's on the narrow side. Steering wheel, it's really nice. It's pretty chunky. You've got lots of controls here. This is a little different than what I'm used to seeing in a Ford vehicle. So since this has your 12-inch digital display, you've got buttons right here that control the digital display, and then below that you've got your hands-free calling. And then on the other side here, you've got all of your cruise control, as well as your radar and lane keep assist. And then below that, you've got your volume controls. And then on the back here, you've got some paddles, because this being the titanium model, since it comes with the 2-liter engine and the 8-speed transmission, they give you paddle shifters as well. It's not something that I'm gonna use a lot of, but maybe some people like it, so you know, whatever floats your boat. Moving up to the digital display here, it's super clear, it gives you a lot of information, but it's not over cluttered. So you know, you've got your water temperature, your speedometer, and that readout gives a nice big digital readout. In the middle, you've got some fuel economy settings, your trip, just different information that you can flip through using the controls on the side here. Next to that, you've got your tachometer, so it displays your RPMs. I'm not sure that's necessary or needed, because there's a little lag in this. When you hit the throttle, you can notice that the sound of the engine goes up before the digital readout moves. And then I also noticed that the numbers for each 1,000 RPM, so 2, 3, 4, whatever, kind of lights up in turn with the engine, but not the, it's not a needle, but not the column that moves with it. So I think that's probably something they need to work out. And yeah, I think they can figure it out, because Toyota, Lexus, they have this kind of display, and it works fine. So maybe Ford just needs to work a little harder on that. And to the right of that, you've got your fuel gauge shown. And then there's also, you know, little icons that pop up to tell you, if you have a door ajar or things like that. And along the bottom, you've got your odometer, tells you what gear you're in, and miles to empty, things like that. Moving to the center stack, now we've got a nice 8-inch screen for your Sync 3 system. And I just love this thing. It's super high fidelity, very crisp and clean. And this will control your navigation, your audio, and your phone. And your HVAC controls are separate, unlike the Ford Mustang that we looked at earlier. So moving down, you've got a volume knob and a tuning knob. And I love, buttons for my systems. You also have a button to turn off the screen. You press it once, it'll show you just the clock. You press it again, and it blacks out the screen, which is nice. And then you also have an audio settings button. Unlike in the Mustang, we actually had different settings. You just have a little button here. You press that, and it'll take you right into the audio settings. And then dropping below that, we have our separate HVAC controls. And I do like this because you've got every single button for what you need here. AC, max AC, where you want the air pointed. And then you also have your button for your heated steering wheel and your heated seats for both passengers. And then to control your temperature, you've got a knob here that you turn, and inside that, it'll read out what temperature you like or you want. And I'm a big fan of that because normally, in most cars you do that and it'll show you in the display. But if you want the display off or whatever, you won't know what's going on, or you'll have to turn the display back on. So here, it gives you a nice crisp readout, and it's great. And while I like this whole interface, I do feel the buttons feel a little chintzy and plasticky, and they kind of feel like they're probably going to break after a few years of use. But this vehicle's built to a price point, so that's kind of to be expected. Below that, we've got a wireless charging pad, some storage. You have a USB and a 12-volt power source as well. Moving down to our transmission, we have a rotary transmission that I thought I liked until driving this for a bit. And I'm looking for a shifter to move to park or in the drive and reverse. So I'm not a huge fan of this. And maybe I'd get used to it, you know, if this was my daily driver, but currently it's just not something I like. And then you've got your electronic parking brake, it's pretty normal. And then controls here for your eco settings, your parking assist. You can turn off start and stop, and you can turn off your parking assist features. This car has different sensors all around the vehicle. There's no 360 camera, but it will let you know when you're getting close to an object in the front or the rear. One more thing I wanted to note was the headrest in this vehicle. Most of the cabin is black, and the majority of it, and then for some reason they've gone with a tan headrest, and I don't know if that's just to save cost, to have like one color throughout the interior or make the interior look airier and bigger, which I'm not sure they needed because there is tons of room in here. But to me, it's an odd choice, and it's something that's just going to get dirty. And I also noticed that the fit and finish is pretty bad, because on both the driver's side and the passenger side, you've got the lining starting to come out, and this car only has, you know, less than 3,000 miles on it. So I'm pretty surprised to see this going on. All right, so the back seats in this vehicle are not bad. I've got, you know, enough legroom right now, but that's because the vehicle is on. When the vehicle turns on, it's got a welcome feature, and the seat slides forward to the preferred driving position for the driver. But once the vehicle turns off, the seat then slides back. So I would just, as a taller passenger with a tall driver, I would need to be aware that that's going to happen, and then, you know, kind of spread my legs out or move them to the side or something when the vehicle turns off, because the seat is going to come back and crunch me. You know, I'm not sure if that's a feature you can turn off. I have yet to be able to find that in the settings. Maybe I need to dig a little deeper, and it is in there, because I would think that's something you're going to want to turn off if you have like a family of tall people or taller people. And, you know, you've got HVAC controls back here. You can't determine how hot or cold it is, but you can determine like how much air you get back here and what direction you want it. And you've got two USB ports back here. You've got your USB-C and a USB-A, so it's pretty nice that they give you that versatility. These seats do slide forward and backwards. So if you need to pull the seats forward for whatever reason, maybe you've got some larger items you want to put in the back, you can do it that way. And the seats also fold down as well. You just pull the handle here, and the seats fold right down. Overall, you know, I think if you've got driver and passenger less than 6'4", you know, and that's 6 foot and below range, I think you're gonna be fine. Or, you know, you offset your tall passenger in the back against your tall driver, I think you're good. There's lots of headroom. It's not a bad place to be. I think this is a decent space, and it's fine if you need to have passengers back here long term, I think. All right, so sitting behind the wheel of the Ford Escape, I think it's laid out very well. You've got a 12-inch digital display in this car at this trim level, an 8-inch touchscreen for your infotainment, includes your Sync 3 system, and the HVAC from this is completely separate from the infotainment. So you've got controls down below your vents here, and that's going to be different than what we saw in the Ford Mustang, where it was all enclosed in one area. So you've got soft touch-ish plastics on your door cards and your dash, and you know, this being the titanium, it comes with the leather trim and things like that. But once you get below where your elbows are going to sit generally, then you get in the hard plastic territory, and that's all on the lower dash. And I'm not sure that's going to age well, because you're going to get scuffs and scratches and things that normally happen in day-to-day life in a car. And I just feel that these cheap plastics are going to scratch, or they're going to show wear marks a lot sooner than maybe a little higher end material will. So the engine in this car is a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo making about 250 horsepower, 280 foot-pounds of torque. And that's made it to an 8-speed transmission with flappy paddles and all-wheel drive train. So I think that the amount of horsepower and torque in this vehicle is more than adequate. I don't believe that somebody shopping for a Ford Escape is going to be looking for that much power. But, you know, it's always nice to have more horsepower. And there's a 3,500 pound towing capacity on this. So I believe that, you know, you'll need or want that extra grunt when you're towing something of that size. I can't imagine towing 3,500 pounds in this vehicle. But maybe if you're towing like some jet skis or a small boat behind you, yeah, I think this is more than you need. So the steering in this, it's pretty over boosted in my opinion. And I know this is an electric rack and things like that, but there's way too little effort required to turn the steering wheel. Like I've never been a fan of over boosting of the steering like this. And I get it, this isn't a sports car or, you know, a sporty utility vehicle or anything like that, but maybe it's made for like grandmas and things like that who need the extra assistance when steering. But I don't know, it's weird. And at low speeds, like parking lot speeds, the steering column makes a weird clicking noise as you are, you know, navigating like a parking lot or parking garage or something like that, or maybe even just pulling out of your driveway. And it was a little disturbing at first because I've never heard a sound like that as I am steering at low speed. So, you know, I'll try to mic it up and attach it in the video so you guys can hear, but it was really weird for me just to hear that. The suspension is pretty supple, however. I mean, yeah, this is like your standard commuter car, so the suspension's designed to soak up all the bumps, and it really does that pretty well. You're not going to feel any kind of, you're not going to feel anything really through the steering wheel telling you like what's going on with the front tires. But, you know, I think anybody who buys this car isn't going to expect that anyway. But I think overall, the steering, suspension, it's all pretty compliant, and anyone who buys this is going to be happy that, you know, it's just a really comfortable car. All right, so final thoughts on the Ford Escape. This is a very competent SUV. It's going to do exactly what the target buyer is looking for. It's got great space. It's attractive looking. There's great tech inside. And you've got good drivetrain options between hybrid and the all-wheel drive. But I wonder if this is the best place to spend your money. This small SUV category is very, very competitive. You've got the likes of the RAV4, the CR-V, offerings from Hyundai, Kia, Nissan, General Motors. There's just a lot of different cars in this segment, and I think that anyone who's considering the Ford Escape should also be cross-shopping against the competitors, because this titanium model, it's got some good features in it. It's got some good, decent finishes, but it also has a lot of hard plastics that are going to scratch and scuff, I think, in the long term. And this is a $36,000 vehicle as optioned. There might be better cars out there for the buyer for that $36,000. So I would just say anyone who gets this car is going to be happy with it. It's going to do exactly what they want. But don't just go to the Ford dealer and just be like, I want the Escape. I think you should definitely check out all the options that are available and then make that decision. All right, that's all I got. All right, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you like. Leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.